Donald Trump's panic is incredibly evident in everything that he does, lashing out at reporters, lashing out at members of his own party, and of course, his late-night truth social tirades, which is exactly what we are seeing, of course, last night. But again, this morning after Donald Trump was hit with a resignation bombshell that is once again putting a massive fracture into MAGA. We are going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into the post that Donald Trump made, because he is freaking out so much, I want to start with one of the many reasons that Lawrence O'Donnell broke down right here.
That Donald Trump's old friend, the sex trafficker and rapist Jeffrey Epstein, continues to make life difficult for Donald Trump. And the dead Jeffrey Epstein shows no sign of loosening his grip on Donald Trump. And so today, when haunting photographs of an Epstein crime scene were made public, and Jeffrey Epstein's convicted co-conspirator in sex trafficking, Ghislaine Maxwell, another old friend of Donald Trump's, told a judge through her lawyer that she intends to file a long-shot appeal with that judge, even after the United States Supreme Court denied her appeal, Donald Trump talked once again about waging a war against a country that has never posed a threat to the security of the United States in any way and never will. Here is Donald Trump saying things today that would have gotten any other president removed from office through the 25th Amendment because of failing mental health.
I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also.
He knows nothing. And that's not going to happen. There will be no invasion of Venezuela. But Donald Trump knows he has to heighten the insanity of his warmongering every day that his old friend Jeffrey Epstein makes news, as Jeffrey Epstein did once again today with the release of photographs.
There is nothing that Donald Trump can do to get us to stop talking about Jeffrey Epstein. He has tried many shiny objects and some look over there, but it's not going to work. The other thing, of course, that Donald Trump has tried is to pretend that he was in favor of transparency, the entirety of this cover-up. Donald Trump says that the only reason that the bill to force the release of the Epstein files became law was because he instructed Republicans to make it. So of course, we know that's not the case. It was Republicans putting their names on a discharge petition, along with every single Democrat in Congress who backed this transparency, that allowed a vote to come to the floor of the House. And Mike Johnson was not raring to go. Neither was Donald Trump. They only knew that the momentum of the push for transparency was so strong that there's nothing that they could do to stand in its way. So Donald Trump didn't support this, as we know. He just let it happen. He bent the knee. But Republicans are still furious with him for this and so many other issues. And it is why Nancy Mace, her new bombshell, is coming out in this report. Nancy Mace Moles, early resignation over House GOP's treatment of women. Report Rep. Nancy Mace is considering resigning from her seat early, reported the New York Times on Wednesday, largely in frustration over how women have been treated under the leadership of House Speaker Mike Johnson. I could get into just how ridiculous and the cognitive dissonance you have to have, being Nancy Mace, to say that Republican leadership treats Republican women in Congress poorly, and not understand that Republican leadership in Congress treats all women poorly, and that is the platform of the GOP to subjugate them, to strip them of their bodily autonomy. Like to not understand that, and to think that this is a personal attack on you, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Alyssa Fahanik, and Anna Paulina Luna, instead of recognizing the real structural barriers in place. It's just idiotic, and to me, commands no sympathy whatsoever. I hope Nancy Mace retires, but of course, Donald Trump certainly doesn't. Understanding the blow that would be once again to his MAGA movement. So as he tries to make this a moment, his, of course, bombing of innocent fishermen alongside of his rampant racism, a moment for the Gopita to come together around mass murder and xenophobia. I guess he took the Truth Social to post this collapse. Trump wrote, "I'm dealing with the poisoning of America." Now, let's set aside for just a second the fact that Donald Trump just pardoned the former Honduran president convicted of actually poisoning Americans with drug trafficking to levels we have never seen before. 400 tons of cocaine coming into the United States. Let's put that aside for a second. What is Donald Trump looking to accomplish in this post one? He's trying to again fearmonger and say, oh, you should be scared of every brown person that you see because they're all trafficking drugs and we have to do everything we can to stop them. And of course, going back to the racism that began his presidency or his run for president in 2015. And of course, even before that, that's been Donald Trump's entire life. But he's also trying to give a justification and get MAGA to get behind the thing that he said again on the campaign trail that he wouldn't do, which is create conflict and indiscriminately bomb innocent fishermen off the Venezuelan coast. Donald Trump is looking for justifications for everything he is doing right now. And he is not finding them. And he is certainly not finding them within a MAGA coalition that is looking forward past Donald Trump right now. And he is unable to keep them with their eyes on him. Donald Trump, I think, at this point, realizes that MAGA is looking more towards the future than they are towards his direction. And so it's all kind of falling apart, especially because it is important to note that MAGA has never really been held together by some principled set of beliefs. This was never a policy-focused political movement. They did not have a moral compass guiding them. Sure, Donald Trump wanted to spew bigotry. He wanted to do that giant tax cuts for the wealthy. But as MAGA looks to what their future actually is going to be, they don't know if they are on board with endless wars. Some of them aren't. Some of them are. Lindsey Graham is a hawk. Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to pretend that she's a dove. MAGA is splintering because for the first time since 2015-2016, they're actually having to come to terms with defining who they are outside of their rampant bigotry, attacks on Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, that they need to come up with policy and they can't govern. Certainly they showed that in the last Congress, but they are also unable to define themselves out of just their regular hate, and that hate spills over onto each other. It's what we're seeing right now. So without Donald Trump to direct that hate against some already, just target someone who is already being marginalized in America, MAGA is directing it at each other. They don't know what to do. Their coalition is fractured because they can't just say, oh, we all love Donald Trump, so we're all on the same team. They don't all love Donald Trump right now. And they don't know where Donald Trump is going to become. Maybe praying a month from now, a year from now, or after his presidency. He is literally falling asleep at the wheel right now, as Chris Hayes broke down here.
Today, he went on a disgusting tirade about Somali immigrants, many of whom are Americans, that even by his own degraded standards was egregiously racist.
Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia and what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight.
There's a lot about that appearance that was both strange and things that we've come to sort of see as normal. You may have noticed Trump kept his hand under the table there. In fact, he appeared to be going out of his way to hide his right hand specifically. That's the same hand that just yesterday was covered with makeup and Band-Aids, the same hand that has had large bruises on it in the past. As for the substance of his remarks, Trump has always been a bigot, going back many decades. He's clearly having a harder time keeping rants like that inside. In fact, today's spectacle comes after a similar tirade yesterday. Also, he's repeating himself a lot. That one was during a cabinet meeting, mostly focused on Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and those pretty clearly unlawful boat strikes, although admittedly, Trump seemed to sleep through quite a bit of it. In fact, at one point, and I think this might be an indelible image of this entire presidency when all is said and done, at one point, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was heaping praise on the great man for his singular leadership as the man next to him, the president, appeared to be nodding off.
This war is going on, and the president is trying to end it, not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on in the world as a country, but he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why even as we speak to you now, Steve Woodcock is in Moscow trying to find a way to end this war, to save lives of 9,000 people, Mr. President, as you know, are dying every week.
Have you ever seen a more awake man? A more virile man? A man of more implacable energy than this man here, Mr. President? I'm talking about you. The Washington Post counted a total of 6 minutes where Trump's eyes were closed or he otherwise struggled to stay awake. And so in response, the White House brought out its defenders to explain why everything is fine.
I read this article, like President Trump is slowing down, President Trump's mental capacity. It is 100% fake. That, like, he only called me twice at 2 a.m. last week instead of 3 times.
You may sleep less than the president, Brad, and that is a remarkable thing because I don't think he sleeps at all.
Fox News even brought out their senior medical analyst to talk about how great naps are.
I think he seems extremely sharp, and I think this whole thing is a bait and switch. This is a disgrace because we don't need to see President Trump passing cognitive tests. As you just said, he passes one every single day, every single moment, going in and out of press conferences. I've never seen anything like it, actually. Thomas Edison believed in the 10-minute nap, by the way. What would they say? We wouldn't have electricity, right?
Now, I'll level with you here. I, too, am a great believer in naps.
It was Thomas Massey who said to his Republican colleagues, "Start thinking in the post-Trump era. Donald Trump will not be here to save you. Come 2028, 2030, he will be a lame duck. He will be moving on. Donald Trump can't even save you. Come these midterms. He's only actually screwing you if you're a Republican. And while Donald Trump falls asleep, Republicans are waking up to that fact. And so they are turning on him. And it's been beautiful. And we are going to be covering it all on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let him silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.